You're about to get everything you've ever wanted. The promotion is yours. The relationship is perfect. The business is taking off. And then you destroy it. You blow the interview. You pick a fight. You quit right before the breakthrough. And you have no idea why. But here's the truth nobody talks about. You're not lazy, you're not broken, you're traumatized. And your brain is doing exactly what it was trained to do: protect you from success. Because somewhere deep in your nervous system, success means danger. Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you will change everything you thought you knew about failure. Let me tell you about Sarah. Brilliant marketing executive. She spent 3 years building a campaign that could make her career. The night before the presentation to the board, she got drunk and missed the meeting entirely. Just didn't show up. Her colleagues were stunned. Her boss was furious. And Sarah? She couldn't explain it. She just said she forgot. But you don't forget the most important day of your professional life. You sabotage it. And there's always a reason. Or take Marcus. Talented musician. Every time he got close to finishing an album, he'd delete everything and start over. 27 times. 27 complete projects erased. His friends thought he was a perfectionist. But perfectionism doesn't explain why you destroy months of work at 3 in the morning in a panic. That's not perfectionism. That's terror. Then there's Jessica. Straight A student her entire life. Got into her dream university. First semester she stopped going to classes. Just stopped. Sat in her dorm room and watched the deadlines pass. Failed out within 6 months. When her parents asked why, she said she didn't know. But she did know. Deep down she knew exactly why. She was terrified of what would happen if she actually succeeded. These aren't isolated cases. This is an epidemic. Millions of people are stuck in this pattern. They work hard, they get close, and then they pull the emergency brake. They quit the job before they can be promoted. They cheat on the partner who actually loves them. They spend the savings right before the investment pays off. And they tell themselves they're just unlucky. Just not meant for success. Just fundamentally flawed. But that's not what's happening. What's happening is much deeper and much more fixable than you think. Your brain isn't trying to hurt you. It's trying to save you. Because at some point in your past, probably when you were very young, success became dangerous. Achievement became a threat. Being seen became a risk. And your nervous system learned a critical lesson. Stay small, stay safe. The problem is that lesson is still running your life today. Even though you're an adult. Even though the danger is gone. Your brain is still following the old code. The survival code. And that code says, if you succeed, something terrible will happen. Let me paint you a picture. You're 7 years old. You bring home a report card with straight A's. You're so proud. You run to show your parents. And instead of celebration, you get rage. Your father looks at the grades and says, "So you think you're better than me now?" Your mother goes silent, cold. The house fills with tension. You don't understand what you did wrong, but you know one thing for certain. Your success made things worse. Your achievement caused pain. And your brain locks that in. Success equals danger. Achievement equals punishment. From that moment on, every time you get close to winning, alarms go off in your nervous system. Red alert. Threat detected. Shut it down. Or maybe it was different for you. Maybe you were the kid who shined too bright and got bullied for it. The one who answered too many questions in class and got called a show-off. The one who dressed too nice and got torn apart by jealous peers. So you learned to dim your light. You learned that being visible meant being a target. And now, decades later, when opportunity comes knocking, your body remembers. It remembers the cost of being seen. And it does everything in its power to keep you hidden. Or perhaps you grew up in a household where love was conditional. Where affection came with strings attached. Where your worth was measured by your usefulness, your obedience, your ability to meet impossible standards. You could never do enough. You could never be enough. So you internalized a devastating belief. I don't deserve good things. I'm not worthy of success. And now, when success comes, your subconscious rejects it like a bad organ transplant. It doesn't fit your identity. It doesn't match your internal narrative. So you sabotage it. You return to the familiar baseline of struggle because that's where you feel at home. Comment below if any of this is hitting home. Because I guarantee you're not alone in this. The numbers are staggering. Studies show that up to 70% of people experience self-sabotage at critical moments in their lives. 70%. That means the majority of us are walking around with invisible tripwires in our own minds, waiting to take ourselves down the moment we get too close to what we actually want. Here's where it gets really dark. Self-sabotage doesn't look like sabotage. It looks like bad luck. It looks like coincidence. It looks like you're just not cut out for this. You tell yourself stories. I'm not smart enough. I'm not talented enough. I'm not lucky enough. But those stories are lies. Protective lies. Because the real truth is too painful to face. I'm terrified of what success will cost me. I'm terrified of who I'll become. I'm terrified that if I get everything I want, I'll lose everything I have. And that fear, that primal, wordless terror, runs the show. Let me break down the 5 signs that you're caught in this pattern. And I want you to be brutally honest with yourself as we go through these. Because recognition is the first step to freedom. Sign number 1, you procrastinate before big opportunities. Not regular procrastination. Strategic procrastination. You have a major deadline and suddenly you're deep cleaning your apartment. You have an important interview and you pick a fight with your partner the night before. You have a book deal and you can't write a single word for months. This isn't laziness. This is your nervous system creating obstacles because the real opportunity feels too dangerous. Your brain would rather have you fail due to procrastination than succeed and face whatever unconscious threat success represents. Sign number 2, you attract chaos when things are going well. Have you noticed that every time your life starts to stabilize, something explodes? A relationship implodes. A health crisis emerges. A financial disaster strikes. You might think you're cursed, but you're not. You're creating the chaos. Unconsciously, yes, but you're creating it. Because chaos is familiar. Chaos is controllable in a twisted way. Chaos keeps you in survival mode where you've learned to operate. Peace and success feel alien, vulnerable, dangerous. So you blow it up before life can blow it up for you. Sign number 3, you sabotage your finances. You get a raise and immediately increase your spending. You save money and then make an impulsive purchase that wipes it out. You're about to pay off debt and suddenly your car breaks down. Some of this is genuinely bad luck, but a lot of it is unconscious financial self-sabotage. Because if you're someone who grew up poor or grew up watching your parents fight about money, or grew up believing that money is evil or that wealthy people are bad, then accumulating wealth feels like a betrayal. It feels like you're becoming the enemy. So you get rid of it. You keep yourself at the financial level that matches your internal identity, even if that level is painful. Sign number 4, imposter syndrome that paralyzes you. Everyone experiences imposter syndrome at some level. But for you it's debilitating. You're not just worried you're not good enough. You're convinced. You're absolutely certain that any success you've achieved is a fluke, a mistake, a cosmic accident. And any day now, everyone will figure it out. Everyone will see that you're a fraud. So you don't apply for the promotion. You don't pitch the idea. You don't publish the work. You stay small, stay quiet, stay invisible. Because being exposed as a fraud feels worse than never trying at all. But here's the thing, that voice isn't rational analysis. That voice is trauma. That voice is the internalized criticism of every person who ever made you feel less than. And you're letting it run your life. Sign number 5, and this is the most insidious. You're addicted to starting over. You love the beginning. The fresh start. The blank slate. The moment when everything is possible and nothing has gone wrong yet. But you can't finish. You can't sustain. You can't stay. Right when things start to work, right when momentum builds, right when success is within reach, you burn it down and start over. New job. New city. New relationship. New project. And you tell yourself you're just searching for the right fit. But the truth is you're running. You're running from the terror of actually succeeding. Because if you succeed, you have to maintain it. You have to be that person. You have to live up to it. And some part of you doesn't believe you can. So you reset. You go back to zero. Where it's safe. Where no one expects anything. Where you can't disappoint anyone, especially yourself. If you recognized yourself in any of these signs, leave a comment. Tell me which one hit the hardest. Because this isn't just information. This is a mirror. And sometimes we need to see ourselves clearly before we can change. Now let's talk about what's actually happening in your brain when you self-sabotage. Because this isn't mystical. This isn't abstract. This is neuroscience. And understanding the mechanism is how you break free. Your brain has 2 primary systems. The rational system, located in your prefrontal cortex, and the survival system, located in your limbic system. The rational system is logical, future-oriented, goal-directed. It's the part of you that sets goals, makes plans, and works towards success. But the survival system is older, faster, and stronger. It's the part of you that's been keeping humans alive for millions of years. And its job is simple: detect threats and neutralize them. It doesn't care about your dreams. It doesn't care about your potential. It cares about keeping you alive. And if it has learned, through experience, that success is a threat, it will do everything in its power to stop you from succeeding. Here's the kicker: the survival system doesn't use logic. It uses emotion and instinct. So when you're about to succeed, when you're about to break through, when you're on the verge of something big, your survival system doesn't think, wait, let me analyze whether this is actually dangerous. It just reacts. It floods your body with cortisol and adrenaline. It triggers fight, flight, or freeze. And suddenly, inexplicably, you're overwhelmed. You're panicking. You're shutting down. And you have no idea why. Because the threat isn't external. The threat is internal. The threat is success itself. And here's the part that's going to blow your mind. Your survival system is loyal. It's loyal to your past. It's loyal to the child you were. It's loyal to the family system you came from. Even if that system was toxic. Even if that system hurt you. Because that system kept you alive. And your nervous system will do anything to maintain loyalty to it. Even if it means sacrificing your future. Let me give you an example. You grew up in a family where no one went to college. No one had a career. No one made more than minimum wage. And there was an unspoken rule. We stick together. We stay at the same level. We don't abandon each other by becoming more. So when you get the scholarship, when you get the degree, when you get the high-paying job, your nervous system sounds the alarm. You're breaking the family code. You're betraying the tribe. You're leaving people behind. And that feels like death. Because for our ancestors, being cast out of the tribe was death. So your brain does everything it can to keep you in the tribe, even if the tribe is holding you back. Even if the tribe is toxic. Even if the tribe no longer exists. You self-sabotage to stay loyal. To stay connected. To stay safe. This is why self-sabotage feels so confusing. Because consciously you want success. You're working toward it. You're trying. But unconsciously you're terrified of it. And the unconscious always wins. The survival system always overrides the rational system. Every single time. Unless you intervene. Unless you reprogram. Unless you teach your nervous system a new truth. Success is not dangerous. Achievement is not a threat. I am allowed to win without losing everything. Drop a comment if this is making sense. If the pieces are starting to come together. Because this is the turning point. This is where understanding becomes power. So how do you break the pattern? How do you stop sabotaging yourself? How do you reprogram a survival system that's been running the same code for decades? It starts with awareness. You can't change what you can't see. And most people never see their self-sabotage for what it is. They just think they're unlucky. They just think they're not good enough. But you're different. You're here. You're listening. You're willing to look at the truth. And that's the first step. Step 2, identify your triggers. When does the self-sabotage happen? What situations activate it? Is it right before a deadline? Right before a commitment? Right before visibility? Right before intimacy? Start tracking it. Start noticing the pattern. Because self-sabotage isn't random. It's predictable. And once you know the pattern, you can interrupt it. Step 3, feel the fear without obeying it. This is the hardest part. When the panic comes, when the urge to quit comes, when the voice says, abort mission, you don't act on it. You sit with it. You breathe through it. You let the wave of fear wash over you without letting it sweep you away. You say to yourself, I see you. I know you're trying to protect me. But I'm safe now. I can handle this. And you stay. You don't run. You don't sabotage. You stay. Step 4, rewrite the narrative. You have to create a new story about what success means. Not the old story where success equals danger, rejection, punishment, or abandonment. A new story where success equals freedom, safety, choice, and self-expression. You have to consciously, repeatedly, tell yourself this new story until your nervous system starts to believe it. And it will resist. It will fight. It will say, this isn't true. This isn't safe. But you keep going. You keep rewriting. You keep reprogramming. Step 5, get support. You can't do this alone. Trauma that was created in relationship has to be healed in relationship. Find a therapist. Find a coach. Find a community. Find people who understand what you're going through and who can hold space for your healing. Because self-sabotage thrives in isolation. It thrives in shame. It thrives in secrecy. But when you bring it into the light, when you share it, when you let people witness your struggle, it loses its power. And here's the beautiful part. When you start to heal your relationship with success, everything changes. Not just your career. Not just your bank account. Everything. Your relationships get healthier because you stop sabotaging intimacy. Your health improves because you stop sabotaging self-care. Your creativity explodes because you stop sabotaging self-expression. You become the person you were always meant to be before trauma taught you to stay small. Let me tell you what happened to Sarah, the marketing executive who missed her big presentation. She started therapy. She uncovered a memory she had completely forgotten. When she was 8, she won a school art competition. She was so excited. She brought the trophy home. Her mother looked at it and said, "Don't get a big head. Pride comes before a fall." And then she put the trophy in a closet where no one could see it. Sarah learned that day that her achievements made her mother uncomfortable. That shining meant rejection. So she spent 30 years dimming her light. But once she saw the connection, once she understood the pattern, she could change it. She went back to her boss. She apologized. She asked for another chance. And she delivered the presentation. And it was brilliant. And she got the promotion. And nothing terrible happened. Her mother's voice was still in her head, but it didn't run her life anymore. Marcus, the musician, realized he wasn't deleting his albums because they weren't perfect. He was deleting them because finishing meant being seen, being judged, being vulnerable. And when he was a teenager, he performed at a school talent show and his father walked out halfway through. Didn't say a word. Just left. And Marcus learned that his art drove people away. So he never finished. Never released. Never let anyone see the full picture. But he found a community of artists who celebrated his work. Who held space for his fear. Who reminded him that his father's inability to witness him wasn't a reflection of his worth. And slowly, painfully, he started finishing projects. Started releasing music. Started being seen. And the world didn't end. His father still didn't approve. But Marcus didn't need him to anymore. Jessica, the student who failed out of college, discovered that her perfect grades weren't about learning. They were about survival. In her house, anything less than perfect meant violence. Meant screaming. Meant punishment. So she became perfect. But perfection is a prison. And when she got to college, away from her parents, her nervous system finally felt safe enough to collapse. She wasn't sabotaging her future. She was finally letting herself rest. Finally letting herself be human. And once she understood that, she went back to school. But this time she wasn't chasing perfection. She was chasing passion. And she thrived. These stories are real. These transformations are possible. But only if you're willing to do the work. Only if you're willing to face the truth. Only if you're willing to stop blaming yourself for something that was never your fault. You didn't choose to be traumatized. You didn't choose to develop these patterns. They were survival strategies. They kept you alive. They got you this far. But they're not serving you anymore. And you have the power to choose something different. Here's what I want you to understand. Self-sabotage is not a character flaw. It's not evidence that you're broken or weak or destined to fail. It's evidence that you survived something difficult. It's evidence that your nervous system is brilliant at keeping you safe. The problem is that it's keeping you safe from the wrong things. It's protecting you from threats that no longer exist while blocking you from opportunities that could change your life. But you can teach it. You can update it. You can show it that success is safe now. That achievement is safe now. That being seen is safe now. And when you do that, when you finally break free from the pattern, when you finally let yourself succeed without sabotaging it, something miraculous happens. You realize that the person you've been protecting all these years, that frightened inner child, doesn't need you to stay small anymore. They need you to be big. They need you to thrive. They need you to show them that it's possible to heal, to grow, to win. And when you do that, you don't just change your own life. You change the trajectory of your entire lineage. You break the cycle for everyone who comes after you. So here's my question for you, and I want you to really sit with this. What would your life look like if you stopped sabotaging yourself? What would you create? What would you achieve? What would you become? And more importantly, what's the cost of not finding out? What's the cost of living your entire life in the shadow of who you could have been? Because that's what's at stake here. Not just success. Not just achievement. But the fullness of your existence. The complete expression of who you are. The life you came here to live. You deserve that life. You deserve to succeed without fear. You deserve to win without guilt. You deserve to be seen without shame. And if no one ever told you that, I'm telling you now. You are worthy of everything you've been too afraid to reach for. And the only thing standing between you and that life is a pattern. A pattern that can be broken. A pattern that can be healed. A pattern that ends the moment you decide it ends. So decide. Right now. Decide that you're done sabotaging yourself. Decide that you're done letting trauma write your story. Decide that you're ready to step into the fullness of who you're meant to be. And then take one small action toward that decision. One small step toward your success. Not a giant leap. Not a complete transformation overnight. Just one step. One moment where you choose courage over comfort. One moment where you choose growth over safety. One moment where you choose yourself. And then take another step. And another. and another. Until one day you look back and realize you built a completely different life. A life where success isn't terrifying. A life where achievement isn't dangerous. A life where you're finally free. That's the life waiting for you on the other side of this pattern. That's the life you're capable of living. That's the life you deserve. So stop sabotaging. Start healing. And watch everything change.